Have you ever heard someone say, "I think I'm having a nervous breakdown"? Or perhaps you've reached a point where you thought, "I just can't cope anymore." These experiences can feel frightening. Many people worry they've suddenly become weak, or that something is seriously wrong with them. The first thing to know is this: nervous breakdown is not a formal medical diagnosis. Instead, it's a phrase people often use to describe a period of overwhelming emotional or mental distress where everyday life starts to feel unmanageable. Today, we're going to talk about what people usually mean by a nervous breakdown, what emotional overload feels like, common causes, practical ways to recover when professional support is important. Because healthy living for real people isn't about never reaching your limits. It's about recognizing them before they begin affecting your health. Think of emotional overload like carrying a backpack. At first, it's light. Then life adds work pressure, family responsibilities, financial worries, poor sleep, illness, grief, relationship difficulties. One by one, more weight gets added. At first, you cope. Then it becomes harder. Eventually, the backpack becomes so heavy that carrying it any further feels impossible. That's often how emotional overload develops. Not overnight, but gradually. Section 2. What does a nervous breakdown feel like? Everyone experiences emotional distress differently. Some people describe feeling overwhelmed emotionally, exhausted, unable to think clearly, constantly anxious, emotionally numb. Others may experience frequent crying, panic attacks, difficulty making decisions, trouble concentrating, feeling unable to face everyday responsibilities. A busy parent may feel unable to cope with ordinary household tasks. A commuter may sit in the car before work, unable to face the day. A business owner may suddenly lose confidence in decisions they would normally make easily. The symptoms vary, but many people describe feeling as though their usual coping strategies have stopped working. Usually, there isn't one single cause. Instead, emotional overload often develops after prolonged periods of pressure. Examples include caring for family members, demanding jobs, financial difficulties, relationship breakdowns, ongoing health problems, major life changes, prolonged poor sleep, unresolved grief. Sometimes the final trigger seems surprisingly small. Perhaps an email, a disagreement, a missed train, a broken appliance. The event itself isn't usually the cause. It's simply the point where the emotional load becomes too much. Section 4. Your body may give warning signs long before people describe a breakdown. The body often starts sending signals. These might include persistent tiredness, muscle tension, headaches, poor sleep, digestive changes, feeling constantly on edge. A high-achieving professional may notice they never truly relax. A parent may become increasingly irritable. A student may struggle to remember information. These signs don't automatically mean someone is heading towards a crisis, but they do deserve attention. Many people who experience emotional overload are incredibly capable. They're the people who always help others, solve problems, work hard, keep going, rarely complain. From the outside, they appear to be coping. Inside, they may be carrying enormous pressure. High achievers often tell themselves, "I just need to get through this week." Then, that week becomes another month, another year. Without enough recovery, emotional reserves gradually become depleted. Recovery rarely happens overnight, and it's usually about more than simply taking a weekend off. Recovery may involve rest, giving yourself permission to recover physically and mentally, reducing the load, asking, "What can wait? What can I delegate? What isn't essential right now?" Looking after basic needs. Sometimes the foundations matter most: regular meals, hydration, movement, fresh air, sleep. These habits don't solve every problem, but they help support your body while you recover. Talking to someone. Support might come from family, friends, colleagues, a healthcare professional, a qualified mental health professional. You don't have to figure everything out on your own. If emotional distress is lasting for several weeks, becoming more severe, affecting work or relationships, making everyday life difficult, it's a good idea to speak with a healthcare professional or qualified mental health professional. And if you ever feel unable to keep yourself safe or have thoughts of harming yourself, seek emergency medical help immediately. You don't have to wait until you're completely overwhelmed before asking for support. Early support often makes recovery easier. Perhaps the most important message today is this: experiencing emotional overload doesn't mean you've failed. It doesn't mean you're weak. It often means you've been carrying more than one person can reasonably manage. The same compassion you would offer a friend deserves to be offered to yourself. Many people recover from periods of emotional distress and return to meaningful, fulfilling lives. Sometimes they even develop healthier boundaries and routines than they had before. Recovery isn't about becoming the person you were. It's about becoming someone who knows how to protect their well-being. Nervous breakdown is not a medical diagnosis, but the emotional distress people describe is very real. Common signs may include feeling overwhelmed, exhaustion, poor sleep, emotional numbness, anxiety, difficulty coping with everyday life. The good news is that support exists. Recovery is possible, and asking for help is one of the strongest things a person can do. Because healthy living for real people isn't about carrying every burden alone. It's about recognizing when the weight has become too heavy and allowing others to help you carry it. If you want wellness journals, stress management workbooks, mindfulness resources, planners, calming teas, and well-being products, I've added useful suggestions in the description. Like and subscribe if you found this video useful.